So here we are putting the last tray in on the machine. So we've got, and that's about 3/4 of a flat. Well, not quite 3/4 of a flat. Although probably could have fit 3/4 of a flat in there had they been thicker and bigger. The key is just to let them go longer, and we're going to set the timer for the drying part a little bit longer, just because fruits tend to take longer, especially strawberries. So here is the cover to keep the unit door from freezing over. Doesn't really have any functional reason other than that, but it's a good idea to put it in there. You could take it out when you were going into the drying mode if you wanted to watch it, but honestly there's really nothing to see. Most of the colors stay pretty much the same, and I mean, I guess if you were going to have people over and want to show them that it was cool, sure. So I'll shut the door here. The seal is off a bit. If you look, the seal doesn't sit completely on it. And it's going to get noisy, but I'm going to show you what we're going to do here. So this is, we got the freezer on now. So on the side here, if you can see it, the little latch, or the not the latch, but the valve. I'm going to shut that. I'm going to do that real quick. All right. So now we got the valve shut in the up position. There's our drain pan down there. And we're going to go ahead and put this thing into the what would be the drying mode to start with. And if you watch, the door is going to suck closed. You can tell by the latch. See the latch is pulling away, going in. And I'm going to let this run for just a second. And then we're going to turn the pump off and just let it go. We're going to shut the machine off and start the freeze part of the machine cycle over again, so that I know when I'm not home, when this thing starts, I won't have any problems with the seal with the door. It's already pretty much there, that sort of thing. At this point, if you reopen the door, you need to reset your seal, because it won't seal properly, and then you'll end up having oil all over the place because the pump never pulls a vacuum, and that sort of thing. So we just changed the oil in the pump. I have a little bottle there with extra oil, so every time I run a cycle I pull a little bit out, which is mostly just water, and then fill whatever I pulled of the oil back in. There's a little sight glass in the front. I have a little flashlight I use to see it. My sight glass has gotten dirty down here, if you look. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's dirty, and I probably should take it apart and clean it so I can see it. And I'm going to buy a filter for this. It sounds like Harvest Right is using a filter on theirs, and it seems to be working fairly well. And I saw another guy ask about it on their forum, so I think I'm going to do that same thing myself. Let's see here. And of course, I haven't changed my display out, which I really haven't done on purpose, because I was worried that it would just happen again, and I haven't had any problems, and I've run this machine a lot of times after that. So I should just change it out. Again, I don't even know that I'd actually need to see this anymore. I could do it just kind of by timing it myself if I had to. So you hear the pump sounds changed now, because the pump itself is pulling a deeper vacuum. I think you'll really hear it going when you get into the lower MTs. It'll start to sound a lot different. I just want to see it going at about, it's pretty much ready, so we're going to shut it off. And so the machine's off, we're going to turn it back on. Now it's back in the freezing mode. I'm going to add a couple hours to the freezing time on this because I had, well, I'm just going to do that. And then I'm also going to add, I'm going to go to about 12, 13 hours on drying time. Now the machine will manage the drying pretty much on its own, but kind of what I've learned is with the fruits and stuff, it takes a long time to get the centers dry, and so the machine thinks it's dry, but it's not because there's no moisture really coming off of it, not much. And so it'll start the actual timer of the drying. And if none of this makes sense because you don't have a machine, you would if you did have a machine, but you can see my display is a little screwed up, but it's still readable. And the newer machines, they moved the display over to this side. They moved, and the button as well, they moved over here so it couldn't get wet. And I bought my machine right before they changed all that, which is kind of disappointing because I really wish that it was over there, but it's not. I mean, functionally the machine still works fine. You know, if I had a problem with the circuit board in there, I don't know. I guess I'd just deal with it or figure out another way around it. But anyways, I really like this machine. Still loving it. It's kind of a long video, but just wanted to say that first round of strawberries and fruit for the season. I did do some peaches, but they were not quite in season, I don't think, and now they're really in. And I'll do some more of those, but I'm gonna finish up these strawberries. I've got some more meats I like to do. I want to do fruits just because we're in the season, but meats and proteins is really where you make your money on the machine. If you're like me and you're prepping, you don't make as much money on the fruits and stuff because they aren't that expensive to buy and they take a long time. The one thing I will say is I know where my strawberries come from. I live in a farming area, and so I get my strawberries locally from farmers here, which is kind of nice. I can support them, and I know where they're coming from, and I mean I literally live right down the road from them. So anyways, thanks for checking out my videos. If you've got any questions, put them down in the comments below. I'll try to get to them. If I start to get more viewers and other things like that, and you guys have ideas of things to freeze dry or try, let me know. That I would like to come up and hear some ideas of what kinds of things. But all right, thank you. Have a good night, guys.